Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another Coffeehouse Crime. This one is titled The TikToker Who Murdered for Blackmail. Things like this intrigue me, people. I got a fucked up brain. I'm telling you. It happens. All right. I'm really excited for today's story. Go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, cup with something special. Let's get curious. Why the murder? Why blackmail? Why blackmail and murder? That's fucked up, bruh.
With over 130,000 followers, Mahek Bukhari was a rising TikToker who was well known for her fine taste in fashion. But when her mother confronted her about a passionate affair gone wrong, she aggressively came to her support by going after her blackmailing ex-lover. What followed was an 8-man operation focused on ambushing a young man who was more than half her mother's age. And whatever she expected the outcome to be, things would spin out of control and become far worse than anyone could have imagined. So, who was Mahek Bukhari? Why had Ansreen confided in her? What caused such a fierce response? And how would all of this end? Welcome back to Coffeehouse Crime, folks. My name is Adrian, and today we're looking at the terrible case of Mahek Bukhari. Now, this case gripped the nation of England, and with it wrapping up just a couple of days ago, I'd like to talk about what happened. Coffeehouse Crime is all about true crime.
Oh, this just wrapped up not too. Oh, hell yeah, bro. I'm excited as shit.
Crime, strange and chilling stories, and the best way to support me is by subscribing to the channel. So, if you like to caffeinate,
Most definitely. Best way to support me, subscribe to the channel. Link is in the description. Go check out the store. Both ways are very, very good. Leave them likes, comments, questions, concerns, and all that good shit.
while you investigate, or simply like dark and fascinating stories from all across the world, then please hit subscribe now. By the way, you can also catch me in the first hour of these videos going live. Please hit the bell so you don't miss me. We're going to dive straight into this one today, folks, so please grab yourself a coffee, pull up a seat, and get ready for the deep dive. This is the case of Mahek Bukhari. Welcome to the city of Leicester, folks. Having previously lived here for 2 years myself, I can tell you a thing or two about this city. I would probably describe Leicester as a place with both everything and nothing nearby. It's got Nottingham to the north, Birmingham to the west, and London to the south. Strategically speaking, it is in the middle of everything. But saying that, it does come at the cost of almost nothing around it for miles upon miles. Leicester, though, is full of charm and reminds me of happy days. And with such a diverse culture, there are endless opportunities when it comes to food and even activities. The city does have a few dark memories, though. In 2018, Leicester Football Club's owner, Vichai Sravardana Prabha, suddenly died when his helicopter crashed just behind the stadium's car park, killing all 5 on board. Vichai was an extremely well-respected owner, and this sent waves of shock and sadness throughout the city of Leicester. Incidentally, this happened basically in my backyard, with my apartment just on the other side of the river from the crash site. Leicester is a very comfortable place to be, though.
That's fucking crazy, bro. Damn.
And I enjoyed my time living there. Its population continues to grow year on year, and is now home to around 370,000 people. However, on a cold morning in February 2022, the city was horrified to learn of what had unfolded the night prior. Before we get to that, though, we must first meet today's subject, and her name is Mahek Bukhari. Mahek lived with a family in Stoke-on-Trent, which can be found about 60 miles northwest and is much smaller in size. Stoke-on-Trent is known for its pottery and its prominence in the ceramic industry, and I think that's just about it. Anyway, it was in the year 1999 that Mahek was born to her mother Ansreen and her father Ali. She was quite popular at school and was well known for a strong sense of fashion. Following a mediocre education, Mahek made the extremely wise and sensible decision to drop out of university so she could focus on becoming a famous TikTok star instead. Making a decision like this requires a triple-digit IQ, and it's obvious that Mahek was very talented in planning her future. And so, after some very careful thought, she launched her own identity online under the name Maybe Vlogs. To be fair to her though, she would actually go on to achieve a small amount of success on both Instagram and TikTok.
I like the little sarcasm detective thing up there. That was fucking hilarious.
Now, I've never really been a fan of TikTok myself.
Me
but
neither.
Mahek's videos did seem to engage.
Fucking hate TikTok, bro. I don't know why. I really don't know why. It's an amazing platform. It is. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I can't stand it. But you can always catch me up on Instagram, Twitter, all that. They're all attached to this channel.
Many people around the world. She would go on to build a following of 120,000 followers on TikTok, 38,000 followers on Instagram, and 4,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh my days, is that maybe vlogs? Is that maybe vlogs? Oh my days, is that maybe vlogs, yeah?
Yeah, it is.
I'm a massive fan, honestly.
Oh my god, no way. That means a lot. Thank you.
But your car's looking sweet with them underglows still.
By the year of 2021, Mahek was making small sums of money through sponsorships on TikTok, and her virtual empire was slowly beginning to turn profitable. She would post pictures of her outfit on Instagram, create long-form vlog videos on YouTube, and do whatever people do on TikTok.
I'm back, guys. We are currently in the Blue Mosque. I'm here with my mum. Hi. Mum, how beautiful is the mosque?
Beautiful, amazing.
So nice. Like, words can't describe how beautiful it is.
Although Mahek's solo videos on TikTok performed relatively well, things really began to take off when she introduced her mother Ansreen to the mix. And going from an average of 40,000 views to 300,000 views when she was present, it became clear that the mother-daughter combo was an excellent and unique selling point to her channel. And as a mother who enthusiastically supported her daughter, Ansreen started to find her own sense of online attention too. Ansreen's story is very different to her daughter's though. Born in Pakistan, Ansreen moved to the UK when she was just a young child. And although she had ambitions of becoming a flight attendant, her parents unfortunately had other plans. They prevented her from going to college, and instead she was arranged to marry Ali Raza. Moving forward, she became a housewife looking after her 2 children and husband. But this kind of lifestyle was not for Ansreen, and unknown to her entire family, she'd started an affair with a much younger man. Saqib Hussain was 21 years old, and he didn't mind to date older women. In fact, he really liked the company that Ansreen gave him. It was in the year of 2019 that Saqib and Ansreen began to speak to each other through a chance encounter through the app named Azar. Azar is a video app that connects you with millions of people both locally and all around the world, and there is no way to determine who you'll be connected to. There is no rhyme or reason. Following their random encounter, they exchanged numbers and soon began to talk every single day. And although the relationship first started as a friendship, things quickly became sexual. Sadly though, nobody knew at the time that their relationship would spark a series of events that would end in tragedy, killing not 1 but 2 people. Needless to say, Ansreen was flattered by the affection and interest given by Saqib, and with her relationship with her husband no longer ticking all of the boxes, she unfortunately began to look elsewhere. Saqib and Ansreen met multiple times in secret, this including covert encounters in hotels, shisha lounges, coffee shops and restaurants. Maybe it was the age difference, maybe a wake-up call, or maybe something else. We don't quite know why, but in 2021, their relationship began to fall apart. As a result, Ansreen decided to break off the relationship, of course leaving Saqib absolutely heartbroken. Struggling to deal with her rejection, he begged Ansreen to reconsider her decision, but she had already made her mind up. The affair was over. Unfortunately, Saqib was not prepared to let go. At the young age of 21, he still hadn't mastered the art of letting things be. And so, in an explosive response, he threatened to expose the relationship to Ansreen's husband, and even threatened to send her nude images to her family. By the end of 2021, Ansreen cracked and told her daughter, Mahek, everything.
Man, he got shady fast as fuck. I'd be like, yeah, go ahead. Send my nudes. Bro, you don't even want to know. Like, I'm going to, like, digitally enhance your butthole and just magically Photoshop all kinds of things in there and send them to all your cousins. Don't even fuck with me, bro. Next Christmas, your Christmas card's going to look like there's a Barbie doll sticking out your ass.
You see, the mother and daughter were always very close with one another, but now, with their ventures together on TikTok, their bond was even closer. Disappointingly, instead of going to the police over Saqib's threats and blackmail, Mahek decided to take matters into her own hand, and this included violence. Now, this is very important in the sequence of today's case, because if Mahek and Ansreen had gone to the authorities, then this story would have ended much differently. I've said it before and I'll say it again, but blackmail is illegal in most countries around the world, and they would have probably been able to prosecute Saqib if they wanted to do so. Instead, Mahek decided to take this story to a whole new level, using counter-threats and violence as the answer. And, tragically, she would overshoot. In a desperate bid to help her mother, Mahek turned to a local mechanic and friend, Reckon Karwan. Together, the pair began to plot to lure Saqib to a private car park, where they would then bribe assailants with a prize of £3,000 or $3,800. The reason for the sum of money is
That's
because
awful.
Saqib claimed that he'd spent about £3 grand on Ansreen while they were lovers. And of course, now that the relationship was over, he wanted every penny back. To his
Fuck
surprise,
it.
it did look like Mahek had agreed to give him the money back, or at least so he thought. Unknown to him, Rekan had enlisted the help of his best friend, Reis Jamal, as well as Reis's cousin Amir Jamal, and other friends including Sanaf Gullah Mustafa, Natasha Akhtar, and Mohammed Patel. In the meanwhile, Saqib did agree to meet Ansreen and her daughter so he could collect the money. They planned to meet in a Tesco supermarket car park in the early hours of February the 11th, 2022. There was one problem though. Saqib couldn't drive. In response, he asked his friend Hashim if he was happy to drive him to Leicester and back that night. Now Hashim didn't know anything about what was going on and was totally innocent to the situation. But despite this, he agreed to be there in a time of need for his friend. And so, shortly after midnight, the two drove from Banbury and towards Leicester. There was one other big problem though. At the time, neither of them knew that they were driving straight into a trap.
Damn, man.
Shortly after 1 AM, Ansreen and Mahek
Shit's getting
arrived
bad,
at the
bro.
arranged meetup in the Tesco car park along with 6 other individuals. Dressed in black and wearing balaclavas, their plan was to ambush Saqib from their own 2 vehicles, one being an Audi TT and the other a Seat Leon. Surveillance footage shows Saqib and Hashim arriving at the car park at around 1:17 AM in a Skoda Fabia. Things immediately didn't feel right though. They noticed that there was not 1 but 2 vehicles waiting for them. This information seemed to be concerning at best, and so Saqib and Hashim made the sensible decision to flee the area and abandon the pickup. 2 minutes later, the surveillance camera captures the Seat Leon and the Audi TT also leaving the car park in hot pursuit of Saqib. Another surveillance camera shows the Skoda being followed by the Seat and the Audi in Leicester. Investigations would later reveal that calls had been made between Saqib and Mahek during this time frame. Over the following seconds, Saqib and Hashim made their way around the roundabout several more times, with the situation becoming more frantic each time. As you can see, all vehicles became faster and even went through a red light. Shortly after this, all 3 cars were then captured travelling along Troon Way and the A607 in Leicester. It was during this moment that Saqib called 999. In the call, Saqib told the operator, "There are guys following me. They have balaclavas on. They're trying to ram me off the road. They're trying to kill me. I'm going to die. Please sir, I just need help. They're hitting the back of the car really fast. Please, I'm begging you. I'm going to die." Following several seconds of silence, Saqib screamed before the call was suddenly cut short. It was at that moment that the Skoda Fabia had tragically crashed. The authorities soon received reports of a car that was on fire by the A46.
Holy shit.
Leicestershire Fire and Rescue Services were also called, and when the fire was put out, officers devastatingly found 2 bodies inside. The bodies were later identified to be Saqib and Hashim. Investigators concluded that the vehicle had smashed into the barrier of the central reservation before then colliding with a tree. The impact of the collision was so severe that the vehicle had split into 2 and the engine had detached from the car. It is certain that both men died immediately, even before the vehicle was set ablaze.
Oh, I hope and pray to God. I mean, I'm very upset that they died, but I hope they both, I hope they both died instantly to be trapped in there and burned alive. Oh my God. Oh shit, bro. Like, no, that's one of my top fears, bro, is being burnt alive. I don't know. Nope. The fear is real. Wow. So all he wanted was money back that he spent after being treated like shit, basically, and all this other shit. I understand he was being really petty about, but it's not worth taking his life. You know what I mean? That's just shitty.
As police carried out inquiries into the collision, it quickly became apparent that the deaths of these two men were not a tragic accident. The collision was immediately linked to a 999 call that Saqib had made in the lead up to the crash, in which he told the operator that he and his friend were being followed by two vehicles. The Bukharis and their gang fled the scene immediately. A tracker fitted on the Audi TT, which actually was a hire car, confirmed that the vehicle had surpassed speeds of more than 100 miles per hour during the chase. In addition to this, the speed of the Skoda at the time of the collision was estimated at being around 80 miles per hour. After the incident and further along the A46, a surveillance camera captured two of the gang getting out of the car, inspecting it for damage, and then getting back in. They then travelled back to Leicester to lay low, and on their way back, they drove past the burning wreckage. Mahek then took over as the driver of the Audi, and Natasha took the Seat. Home surveillance footage shows the gang then walking through Leicester during the early hours of the morning. And mobile phone data shows calls and messages being exchanged between all 8 defendants. The group then decided to disperse. Natasha, who was the registered owner of the Seat, began her journey back home to Birmingham, while the Bukharis then headed north back to Stoke-on-Trent. Meanwhile, Leicestershire police knew something that the group did not. Saqib's 999 call had been passed on to detectives, and in this call, he shared the license plates of all other vehicles involved. With this information, officers began to review all the local cameras that could automatically detect number plates. And after sending out an alert, 2 officers in the West Midlands spotted Natasha's Seat. As the report of a collision quickly turned into a double murder, police officers worked overtime to find those responsible as quickly as possible. They were extremely reactive to the evidence available, and not even 10 hours after the tragedy, Mahek and Ansreen found multiple officers at their front door. Bodycam footage shows them lying to police about their whereabouts. She told the officers that they had travelled to Nottingham during the evening, but her lies were not enough to convince them, because she found herself in handcuffs just several minutes later.
Me and May went.
No, yeah, we were out.
Where were you? Where was that?
So we stayed here, and then we went straight to Nottingham.
Right. Okay. In the Audi.
Yes.
Audi, yeah.
Right.
Following the seizure of the Seat Leon and the Audi TT, the forensic collision investigator found damage to the front of the Seat Leon, which was consistent with colliding with the rear of the Skoda Fabia. A wheel brace was found in the boot of the Audi TT and a curved metal tool in the driver's seat of the Seat Leon, both of which are believed to have been deliberately taken to assault Saqib. While being interviewed in custody, Mahek continued to lie about where she was on the night Saqib and Hashim were murdered. But when the police played Saqib's 999 call, she seemed to be rather surprised that they knew. But instead of giving up, she decided to break down in tears, confessing that Saqib was a liar and often manipulated events, saying that, "I'm just going to let this video roll for a while."
There's a car that's coming on the right hand side, a Seat Leon, don't know the model or anything, but it was blue. Come straight down, no speed, nothing, normal on the right hand side. We were always on the left hand side. This right hand side car's come now, the Leon, the blue one, has come straight next to me and come right in front of me, not very close. I've always said to myself, I'm a very good driver when it comes to this. I've been driving for 5 years, 45 years, and I've said to myself, always keep a 2 to 3 second rule gap, always, when I've said to myself, always done that. So this car's come not close, I've always braked. So I was doing 60, it was 70, I think it was 70 on the dual carriage or 60. I was doing 50 straight away, went back, went to 50 to 60, went back. This car didn't do anything to me. I don't know who, just a normal car going on the right to the left. The silver car, I don't know which brand it was, model, it's come zooming down. I've kept this 2 to 3 second rule gap, and the blue Leon's in front, I'm at the back. This silver car's come and cut into the middle, so we're basically all 3 cars very close. I braked and I said to my mum, what is this car trying to do? And my mum saying, May, just keep your distance, everything's going to be okay, it's okay. Just a reckless, people just reckless because they know it's all the way down. If there's any cameras, there's going to be cameras, they must know there's no cameras. So they've gone all the way down, they've cut into my car. I've kept my distance, I've braked. I think got to at least 40 because there was no cars behind me. Going to 40, this car was not threatening me, but agitating the blue car. So I looked at my mum and I goes, Mum, what is going on? What is wrong with, are they, I don't know if they're drunk, what are they trying to do to this blue car in general? So my mum goes, May, like I said, leave it, you're not involved, you don't know what's going on, you just go straight on and leave it. I goes, okay, that's fine.
Following this terrible whirlwind of a story, Ansreen, Mahek
What
and
the
Akhtar were
fuck?
kept in custody, with Rais, Jamal and Kawan being arrested 3 days later. Amir and Gula Mustafa were arrested 1 month later in March. As you can imagine, there was a lot of evidence for the prosecution to go through, which included more than 200 hours of surveillance footage, 40 locations, and more than 300 statements. The tragedy was big news here in the UK too, with the spotlight firmly on Mahek and her mother due to their involvement in the case and their TikTok tendencies. It would take almost 18 months for the prosecution to fully build their case, but finally, in April of 2023, their trial began, and this one would last for 15 long weeks. And with so much evidence stacked against them, there was almost nothing that the defense teams could do. Surveillance footage, phone calls and forensic evidence aside, messages recovered from Ansreen's and Mahek's mobile phones showed Mahek telling her mum, "I'll get him jumped by guys and he won't know what day it is." On the afternoon of Friday the 4th of August 2023, and after 18 long months of waiting, the families of Saqib and Hashim were ready to find out the fate of their murderers. On the very same day, Mahek was seen by reporters outside of Leicester Crown Court laughing and waving at them from a balcony. But the confident smile on her
What the
face
fuck?
would soon be wiped away. The jury had deliberated for a mere 28 hours before reaching their verdict, and unfortunately for her, it was not a good outcome. The jury found Mahek and Ansreen guilty of 2 counts of murder. Rukun Kawan and Rais Jamal, who were the drivers of the 2 cars, were also found guilty of murder. Sanaf Gula Mustafa, Amir Jamal and Natasha Akhtar were found not guilty of murder, but instead were found guilty of manslaughter. Coming clean to the officers
enough.
immediately after the tragedy and telling them the entire story, Mohammed Patel was found not guilty of murder and not guilty of manslaughter. Responding to the verdict, senior investigating officer in the case, Detective Inspector Mark Parrish, said, "This was a callous and cold-blooded attack which ultimately cost 2 men their lives." After setting Sadiq and Hashim up, chasing them at a high speed, and then ultimately ramming their car off the road, none of the defendants made any attempt to help the victims or to call for help. Instead, they drove on and then even drove back past the collision site, and still no one attempted to offer any help. As a result of their actions, Mahek Bukhari was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 31 years and 8 months. And as for her mother, she was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 26 years and 9 months. Now, Rais received 31 to life, but was later given 5 extra years after he was found guilty of assaulting a woman. Rekan received 26 to life. After being found guilty of manslaughter, Sanaf, Amir and Natasha received 14, 14 and 11 years respectively. Following the verdicts, Saqib's family said, "Saqib was a much-loved young man who was kind, compassionate, caring and sensible. We are shattered by this senseless act, and are still struggling to come to terms with the enormity of our loss." Saqib's death has brought so much sadness, not just to his family, but to the many people who knew him. We have hope and confidence that Saqib has found eternal rest with our Lord, and that we will get to be with him again when we pass. We also pray that no family will have to go through our experience. Hashim's relatives said he was the superstar of their family, and their world had come crashing down after his death. In a statement, they said, "Everyone who knew Hashim loved him. His death is not just a massive loss to our family,
that's awful.
but also to our whole community. Hashim was a cheeky young man who was always smiling. A handsome man who was beautiful both on the inside and out. He would do anything for anyone, was very caring and had a very kind heart. Hashim would always put others first and wouldn't hesitate to help others if they needed it. On that tragic day, he was simply helping his friend, and this resulted in his death. It has been extremely painful not only losing Hashim at such young age, but also in the circumstances in which we lost him. The more I think about this case, the more angry and frustrating I become.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, 2 men lost their lives for almost no reason at all. I understand the predicament that Ansreen was in, but resorting to violence over your own mistakes is totally the wrong way to go. What really gets me is that out of all 8 people that decided to go ahead with this crime, not one of them stopped to think that this could end terribly. They all decided to go ahead with it. To make matters worse, Hashim was entirely innocent on this case. He was simply there to help Saqib in his time of need, and as a direct result of his kindness, he lost his life. As of today, Mahek's profiles are still online for the world to gawk over. Who knows if YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram will ever take them down, but at least for now, they are all still available. They are an ugly reminder to the world of Mahek's ugly existence, and a virtual gravestone for a woman who is now behind bars. Meanwhile, the lives of Saqib and Hashim, lives that were lived offline more than online, are much harder to find. I sincerely hope that their families will find closure in the future. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers our case today, folks. I don't think I've missed anything.
Damn, bro, that was hard to get through. Those women are evil. Evil women. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was being kind of shitty, but that's not that does not excuse one for the other, you know what I mean? Sweet baby Jesus. Alright. I enjoyed the story though. I really did. And if you all enjoyed the story as much as I did, please go down there, leave a thumbs up. While you're down there, going over, slap that subscribe button, become part of the Bill 5000 Nation. We do some crazy shit here. If you want to know when that crazy shit happens, ding that bell. It might work for you. It might not. But if it does, jump in on one of my premieres, go over in the live chat, say, "What's up, Bill?" Leave a like and then dip. I never ask you to do no more than what I do for myself. And that's not much. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. You know what kept those two boys safe in that fire, though? Some Bill 5000 merch. Links in the description. Yeah.